I'm Savannah Blake, 28, and I've learned that silence can wound more sharply than any spoken jab. My last family birthday celebration was at 19. Since then, each year passed with no calls, no cakes, not even a casual happy birthday tossed onto social media. At first, I brushed it off, thinking they were swamped. Later, I told myself it didn't matter. But deep down, every ignored birthday stung, like watching candles flicker out in someone else's home. I poured everything into them, babysitting when my sister craved freedom, paying bills when dad's excuses wore thin, driving mom to doctor's visits when she claimed no one else could. Yet, when my birthday rolled around, there was only silence. They either forgot or, worse, remembered and chose to ignore me. Both felt toxic. This year, though, things shifted. I wasn't that 19-year-old crying over cheap wine in a cramped apartment. At 28, I'd earned a bonus that could rewrite my story. Instead of waiting for a message that'd never arrive, I signed a check, a down payment on a lake house. My lake house. A place with walls of glass that captured dawn's light and a dock reaching out like a vow over the water. On my birthday, I didn't hold my breath for calls. I shared 3 photos, me on the dock, keys in hand, the sky mirrored in the windows. Caption: a gift to myself. By midday, my phone exploded, 37 missed calls, 6 voicemails, and a text from my sister, "Please, we need to talk." But I wasn't finished. Not by a long shot. The first voicemail came from Mom, her voice dripping with false sweetness, as if she hadn't spent years dismissing birthdays as childish after 18. "Savannah, we saw your post. That house is stunning. Call us back. Let's celebrate together." Celebrate. The word tasted sour. 9 years of silence, and now they knew the word's meaning. Dad's voicemail came next, his tone laced with entitlement. "Savannah, where'd you get the cash for that place? Don't be reckless. Call me before you mess this up." My sister's text, though, made me chuckle, not for its sudden remorse or interest, but for its raw desperation. "Please, pick up. We need to talk." We, not her, not me. By dusk, I sat on the dock, feet skimming the water, wine glass in hand, watching the sun spill orange across the horizon. My phone buzzed, a video call from my sister. I let it ring out. Moments later, a message: "How could you buy that without telling us? What will people think?" That line said it all. She didn't care about me or the 9 years of forgotten candles. She cared about appearances, about how my success cast a shadow on her ordinary life. I replied with one line: "This wasn't for you to know or claim." Then I locked my phone, leaned back, and let the quiet fill the voids they'd left in me. But I knew this wasn't the end. The next morning, pounding at my gate woke me. I thought it might be a delivery for the new house, but my stomach knotted when I peeked through the blinds. There they stood, my parents, my sister, even her husband, faces red, arms folded, acting like I'd wronged them. "Savannah!" Mom yelled up the drive. "Open the door. This is absurd. We're family. Family." That word hit like a stone through a window. Where was family when I spent birthdays alone? Where was it when I pleaded for help with college costs, only to hear, "Be more like your sister"? I stayed still, letting their knocks echo. Another text from Dad lit up my phone. "We're outside. We're not leaving until you let us in." After 20 minutes of their clamor ringing through the trees, I opened an upstairs window and leaned out, voice calm as the lake. "You forgot me for 9 years," I said evenly. "Guess I forgot to invite you." The silence that followed was perfect. My sister's husband shuffled, mumbling about neighbors watching. My sister snapped at him to be quiet. Mom looked faint, and Dad's jaw tightened so hard I could hear his teeth from above. "Savannah, stop this drama," Mom finally snapped. "That house is too much for you alone. We can help manage it. It's best for everyone." There it was, not love, not regret, but control. I smiled. "Then you'd better get used to disappointment, because this place doesn't know your names." I shut the window. That night, I sat on the deck, the moon casting silver across the rippling lake. My phone buzzed with unread messages, A group chat, silent for years, now buzzing with life. My sister, Savannah, don't be harsh. We just want to celebrate with you. Mom, we messed up, but you can't hold grudges forever. Let us in. Dad, we're not leaving until we talk. Open the door. I let the screen go dark and set the phone face down. Their words didn't tug at me like they once might have. They felt empty, like coins tossed into a dry well, hoping to reclaim years they'd discarded. Then my boss called, his voice warm. Savannah, did you see my email? Your project landed a huge client. The 6-figure bonus is in your account. I laughed softly, struck by the timing. Here I was, seeing how wealth and success drew those who once ignored me. My so-called family pounded at my gate, while those who valued me, people I'd chosen, cheered my wins. After hanging up, I poured a glass of wine and checked the security feed. There they were, still outside, like exiles from a lost realm. My sister paced, her husband smoked, Mom whispered furiously to Dad. 4 years, I'd yearned for their acceptance. Now, I didn't need their approval. I wanted them to feel the bite of absence, the cold of being shut out. For the first time, I saw that revenge might not be loud. It might just be silence and a gate that never budged. The next morning, pounding at the gate returned. Through the monitor, I saw my sister clutching balloons and a drooping cake, mascara streaking her face. Mom shouted into the camera, voice breaking. Savannah, please. You're embarrassing us. The neighbors can see. Neighbors. That word made me grin. For 9 years, I was invisible, overlooked on birthdays, sidelined at holidays, erased from family photos. Now their fear wasn't about me. It was about their polished image cracking under the truth I'd chosen to reveal. I brewed coffee slowly, letting their pleas bounce off the walls, then opened the intercom. My voice was steady, almost icy. Do you recall my 21st birthday? I waited at home, cake melting, no one showed. You said you lost track of time. That's when I stopped believing you'd ever care. Silence outside. I went on. This house, this life, this peace, you had no part in it. You don't get to claim it. Not now. Not ever. My sister sobbed, slamming the gate. You're cruel, Savannah. Family forgives. I sipped my coffee, tilting my head. Family doesn't forget birthdays for 9 years. Family doesn't show up only when there's money to grab. The balloons slipped from her hands, drifting skyward, vanishing. They stood frozen, pale, staring like they were seeing me for the first time. I didn't shout or cry. I pressed the intercom button, cut the feed, and let silence shield me. For once, I wasn't the forgotten one. I was undeniable. The calls kept coming. By evening, my phone showed over 80 missed calls, voicemails piling up, angry, then pleading, then desperate. My brother's voice broke through one. Savannah, you're tearing us apart. Just answer. I leaned back, watching the sun dip behind the lake, its golden glow dancing on the water. This piece was worth more than their words, real or not. Then Mom texted, Fine. If you won't answer, we'll come back with a lawyer. That house was meant for us. Us. I nearly laughed. 4 years, I was theirs only when it suited them, the quiet daughter they could ignore without cost. But when money or property entered the picture, suddenly I was family. I opened my laptop, pulled up the deed. My name, Savannah Blake, stood bold. The ink was dry, the purchase final. This house wasn't theirs, wasn't shared, wasn't up for debate. That night, as the moon climbed, I posted online, Family doesn't forget for a decade. Family doesn't remember only when there's something to claim. Today I choose me, and I'll keep choosing me. Hours later, my phone buzzed, not with family, but with friends, co-workers, even strangers who saw the truth between the lines. Their messages flooded in, proud of you, so brave, inspiring. For the first time in years, I felt truly seen. When my sister texted again, Please, Savannah, let's talk. We'll fix this. I stared at the screen, then powered it off. The silence was liberty. The next morning, Pounding shook the lake house door. Voices seeped through, angry, demanding. "Savannah, open up." Mom's tone was sharp, the same commanding voice from my teenage years, when obedience was expected. I didn't budge. My sister's voice joined, shrill and frantic. "Please, we just need to talk. You don't get what you're doing." But I did. I understood perfectly. For years, they left me to mark my birthdays alone, brushing it off with weak excuses or silence. They threw lavish parties for each other, with cakes and trips, while I faded away. Now they demanded to be heard, to be acknowledged. Through the glass, I watched them pace the porch, faces flushed with anger and panic. My brother ranted about family ties. Dad muttered about lawsuits. Mom sobbed, claiming they were just overwhelmed all those years. I let the scene unfold like a quiet show. Then, without opening the door, I walked to the garage, hit the button, and drove out. As I passed, their heads snapped toward me. Mom ran at the car, arms flailing, shouting my name. My sister clutched her phone, dialing someone in a frenzy. I slowed just enough to lower the window, my voice slicing through the chill. "You had 9 years to remember me. 9 years to show up. Today, I remember myself. Goodbye." I raised the window and hit the gas, their voices fading behind me. The road ahead felt like the first real birthday gift I'd ever given myself. That evening, I returned to the lake house, the sky streaked with purple and gold. The water lapped gently, the only sound. No knocks, no calls, just quiet. Inside, I poured wine and sat by the fire. My phone buzzed relentlessly, calls, texts, voicemails stacking up. I didn't listen. I knew their script. "Savannah, you're overreacting. Family doesn't abandon family. You're selfish." But selfish? No. I was free. I scrolled through my post again, the lake house glowing under soft lights, captioned, "Birthday gift to myself." Thousands of likes and comments rolled in, strangers cheering, reminding me I wasn't invisible. It wasn't the point, but it felt good. A soft knock came at the door, not pounding, just a tentative tap. My sister's voice drifted in, shaky. "Please, can we come in? We'll make it right this time. I swear." I stared at the door. For a second, habit nudged me to forgive, to give them another chance. But then I remembered, 9 birthdays, 9 years of silence, 9 years of proof. I turned back to the fire, raised my glass, and whispered to the flames, "Some doors stay locked." My phone lit up again. Another call. I pressed the side button, powered it off. The house was still. My heart was calm. For the first time in years, I celebrated not with them, but for me.